Hey man, good to see you.
Hello, Tom. Good to see you.
You ever get a case of the fuckets?
Oh, more recently than ever.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've been feeling lately, and I thought maybe that could be a good topic to talk about, the case of the fuckets. And
Mhm.
so I guess let me just briefly describe what I mean if if for some odd reason somebody who's listening doesn't know what a case of the fuckets is. It's that moment where you know what you need to do, you know what's right. Um when your world gets flipped upside down, the universe throws a curveball, and shit just doesn't seem right. Or you can justify in your mind, fuck it. I'm going to do not so good shit for myself, like eat donuts, or, maybe people who are, engaged in substance use, they end up, drinking on a night that they don't normally drink, or what have you. And they just get this case of the fuck it's. Now in the addiction world, it's sort of like, I've had a shitty day, and my shirt didn't fit right and I felt fat, and then the boss yelled at me, and then a relative is having some medical issues, and then they get to a place where they're just like, fuck it, I don't care anymore, I'm just going to do whatever the hell I want to do. I'm going to
Mhm.
go to instant gratification. I'm gonna go for quick dopamine hits. And you know what? The all the rules in life right now that I've come to cling to suddenly don't mean anything anymore. Like, fuck it, whatever. I don't care anymore. That's a case of the fuckets.
Yeah. And addiction's a different story. A lot of times people with addiction will create the case of the fuckets just to, be able to do what it is they're craving to do anyway.
Yeah.
Outside of addiction in my mind is a little bit of a different story, but in my life, I try to I eat, I follow the five things. I get good water, I exercise, I get good sleep, I have
Right.
good sleep hygiene. I stay to a schedule, and I have good water intake, and I do that most of the time. I would say 90 to 95% of the time I do that very well. And I go to work, and I pay my taxes, and I keep my house clean, and I work on the yard, and I do everything that I'm supposed to. I save money for retirement, blah blah blah. I be a good human being, and I be a good citizen, and I do
Right.
everything I'm supposed to. And then sometimes I'm just like, fuck it,
Yeah.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm gonna eat donuts. And guess what?
Yeah.
I'm going to Taco Bell, and I'm getting 6 tacos, and I'm shoving those things down my face so freaking fast.
Right. Yeah. And even the most like productive, well-adjusted, decent, upstanding citizens, such as ourselves, because I try to do everything right by the letter, get a case of the fuckets from time to time.
Mhm, mhm,
Part of our human experience. And it's okay. We don't have to beat ourselves up for getting to that place. Like I
mhm,
said, sometimes when the life is flipped upside down, and what's up was not is down now, and what's left is right, and the legs, you're just like, you know what, for right now, I don't care. And that doesn't last. So, or else it should not last
mhm,
past that day or maybe weekend or something. So,
mhm,
I want to put in a suggestion that if you do experience this, which I know you most certainly have had that experience and gotten a case of the buckets, um, don't let that continue to dictate your life. Like, okay, you have a day where that's how you feel, or maybe you have a week where that's how you feel, but get back to doing what's right. Get back to being disciplined about sticking to your health and wellness, making sure that you're productive and you find meaning and purpose in your life. Those are so important. And it's okay from time to time, of course, to have a couple of hours or a couple of days of just, fuck it, and it's all right to just be in that kind of funk for a little bit. Because through that, if we can allow ourselves to just be that, and not beat ourselves up over it and not feel like we're a derelict because of it, then you get stronger through that adversity. Yeah, life is going to get in the way of our plans. Shit's gonna come that you least expect, and you're gonna have to fucking deal with it. And if you need to have a case of the fuckets for a couple of days before you deal with it, then so be it.
Yeah. Important part is to not let it define you, right? So
Yeah.
even with addiction, unfortunately, sometimes relapse is part of the disease process,
Yeah.
and people relapse that are, maintaining on the sobriety. And you know what? And for some people, it's very devastating. Like, I've talked to people that I've been sober for 20 years, and I just thought, hey, I could have a beer. Why can't I
Yep.
be like a normal person and just have a beer on a Friday night? And then
Yep.
the next thing you know, it's, Monday morning and they don't remember the last 2 days.
Yep.
And they're just completely devastated. I can't believe I threw 20 years away. You
Mhm.
didn't throw 20 years away. You had 20 years of sobriety and you had a 2-day, lapse of judgment. So get right back on, get up, dust yourself off,
Yeah.
embrace sobriety again. It doesn't mean that you're starting over. So I always talk about, with Chutes and Ladders. You remember Chutes and Ladders is when we
Oh
were
yeah. Yep.
so I always say, don't take the big shoot, right? We can take little shoots and we can, fall down a little bit, but we don't have to go back to the beginning. You
Right.
don't have to
Back to
restart.
start.
Yeah, you don't have to restart your whole sobriety process.
Right.
You have 20 years. So, pick it up and move on.
Sadly, when people do get a case of the fuckets, sometimes really bad shit can occur.
Hmm.
So if you are experiencing a case of the fuckets now, or if you do in the future, of course, stick to those things that Brett and I have been talking about, making sure you're on autopilot and doing all those right things for yourself, making sure you get sleep, nutrition, exercise, water intake, sticking to a routine or a daily schedule. Put yourself back on autopilot and just keep things simple, because if you allow that case, the fuckets, to run wild and, like you said, Brett, define you, bad shit can really happen. Things that you are going to have to pay for, whether it's karmically or legally, or you make some bad decisions, you might cause significant harm to yourself or others, and you don't want that. You don't want to have to deal with it just because you had a day of the fuckets.
Right. Absolutely. Well said. And, yeah, as we talked about last week, my world was like upside down last week.
Yeah.
And the only thing I knew how to do was to focus on myself. So, good nutrition. Exercised. I was exercising twice a day just because I needed that. Drinking nothing but water and coffee. I usually have, a couple of beverages, a couple of beers on the weekend. Absolutely zero in alcohol intake for me. It was just not a time for me to do anything but focus on all positives. I ate more salads, I ate more vegetables. I was
Yeah.
exercising, I was doing things that brought me joy. I was reading, it was just time for me to hyper focus on myself because that's all I could control at the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a good point. Sticking to those things that are within your control and trying to do the right things for yourself that are going to propel you forward, for health and wellness, for your own life, for your family's life. Those are the most important things. And those are within your control. If things outside of your control are causing you disharm and are leading to you having a case of the fuckets, then focus on what is within your control and
Mhm.
just do that and do the next right thing. So, because it's so easy to get out of those really good habits when we get in that mind state of just fuck it. And then we stop doing all those things that are healthy for us. And then there are negative consequences, maybe big negative consequences, or maybe just small repercussions. Like if you're on a fitness weight loss journey and then you get a case of the fuckets and you have a weekend of eating trash food, then you get back on,
Mhm.
the proverbial horse Monday and get back to your routine. That's okay. If you go the next month or 2 months of saying, well, screw it, fuck it, and then you eat like trash and you don't exercise and you drink sodas instead of hydrating yourself, then you're not going to like who you become after the 2 months.
Mhm.
2 days, not a huge deal, but
Mhm. 2
yeah, two
months, big
months.
deal.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's so easy. It's a slippery slope.
Mhm. Mhm.
That felt good yesterday, so I'm gonna do those things today.
Yeah.
That works both ways.
And, I can feel the difference, like, when I'll have my moments where, you know, my nutrition is off and I'm eating a bunch of garbage. I'm eating those Taco Bell tacos and some donuts and stuff. it feels good at the moment, and then, like, it doesn't feel good it makes you feel like it makes me feel like garbage, like,
Yeah.
now I'm in the bathroom, and now why is my stomach hurting? I just bleh, I don't feel like I have no energy, and I just wanna sit on the couch, so
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
and I remind myself of that. It's like, yeah, tacos will be good for 10 minutes, and then what?
Yeah.
With fire sauce, and damn it, and then the
It's
fire
delicious. Delicious, but you pay for it.
you pay for it for sure.
Yeah. So if you know if I get a case of the fuckets and then I screw off for 2 days, I'm gonna feel like shit, and then you're gonna have to deal with that. It goes both ways. So if you get a case of the fuckets, but then you make sure that you exercise and you drink water and you just focus on those simple tasks, you're gonna feel still, maybe like you have the fuckets if it's a significant happening 2 days later, but physically, mentally and emotionally, you are going to feel better because you did those right things for yourself.
Mhm,
You stuck to
mhm,
those good habits.
for sure. And it feels you have a sense of accomplishment when you do the right things, or you follow your
Yeah.
daily schedule, or whatever it is that you set out for yourself.
Yeah. I stick to the lifting schedule that I've created for myself. I
Mhm,
stick to drinking copious amounts of water per day. I try to get to bed early and make sure I get rest. And also, when you have a case of the fuck, it's your mind tends to spin and spiral out of control. And you start to have an emotional reaction because there's a lot of fear. Maybe there's uncertainty. Maybe there's anxiety that's coming up, and you're not able to rest as well as you'd like to. And so
mhm,
it's even more important during this time of the case of the fuckets to do those things that we're prescribing that you do, those simple tasks that are going to lead you to health and wellness and to be more resilient.
right. We'll talk about a case of the fuckets. I really wonder what's gonna happen if Jake Paul's gonna say "fuck it" tonight, or if Mike Tyson's gonna say "fuck it" tonight. So,
Right,
hey, out there, if you're listening, send us your predictions at questions@therapyunzip.com before tonight. Tell
right,
us what you think is going to happen in the fight tonight, Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. We want to hear
right.
what you think is going to happen, and we get some comments. We'll bring them up next week and see if any of your predictions held true.
Right. I'm curious about that. So send them in. Let's see what happens. Mike Tyson, 58 years old. We are Gen Xers, so we grew up with Mike Tyson,
Right?
and he's always been a fucking badass. And so he still, when you see him training, like clips of him training, he still looks
Yeah.
pretty badass, pretty robust. So I don't know that you watched that Netflix thing, so I don't know much about Jake Paul.
Well, he was a skinny little kid YouTuber, made millions of dollars. He was one of the original, probably most successful YouTubers when that stuff got started, doing all kinds of goofy stuff. And then he, at some point in his early 20s, early mid 20s, decided he wanted to be a fighter. Like somebody like lipped off to him, or he got into like a fight with another YouTuber or something, and got
Right.
into a fight, and then got the boxing bug and has been training. He's 28 now, 27, 28. Um,
Yeah.
and I mean, he's formidable.
Yeah.
I watched some of the fights that he's had, and the boy can hit. So it will certainly be interesting to see how this transpires. Now,
Yeah.
of course, as an old guy, I want Tyson to knock him out in the first round,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I wouldn't. I don't know. I have no idea what's going to happen. I have no prediction. It could be anything. I know
Yeah.
what I want to happen, but I don't know what will happen.
Yeah.
We shall
Like I
see. Send us what
yeah.
your predictions are. I'll be interested to hear those.
Like I said, I haven't seen Jake Paul fight, but I've definitely seen Mike Tyson fight over the years. Like I said, when I was young, growing up, watching those fights, and the perception that I got, of course, was that he was absolutely unbeatable. Like he was just like, light years ahead of anybody else that was training and fighting and competing and all that. So, but it's been some time
Mhm.
since those years. So, I mean, yeah, who knows?
What I did hear was this was supposed to just be like a celebrity kind of boxing match. Not a lot of rules applied. There was no Tyson wasn't weighing in, wasn't taking a drug test, a lot of those things. And then it became so contentious.
Yeah.
And with all of the talking back and forth, that this turned into pretty much a professional fight. So there is weigh-ins. They did the weigh-in last night.
Yeah.
Drug tests, the whole thing. Now the rounds are 2 minutes as opposed to 3 minutes, which is a traditional professional fight. But,
Yeah.
we'll see. It's gonna be fun. I can't wait. Can't wait. Can't wait.
Yeah, man.
So when you get a case of the fuckets, sometimes you just need to do it. You know what? We're human
Yeah.
beings. We're not perfect. And it's okay most instances. When you get a case of the fuckets and it's things that can jeopardize your life, that's not okay. But
Yeah.
when you just need to, like, I need to get off my schedule. I need to eat a bunch of tacos. I need to sleep in. I don't, I'm not going for I'm not on a lift. I'm not going to run today. Those kinds of.
Yeah.
I'm going to be lazy. I'm going to, instead of cleaning the house or cleaning out the garage like I should be doing, I'm going to lay on the couch and watch TikTok all day. I mean, sometimes that's okay,
That's
but
okay.
it's good in the short term. You know what? It gets light up your dopamine, hit your pleasure centers for a little bit, and then time to get right back on the horse and follow your schedule, because that's gonna what propel you in the future.
100%. Well, thank you for today, Brad.
Thank you, Tom.
Send in your comments or questions to questions@therapyunzipped.com. Let us know how you feel about this topic, a case of the fuckets, or maybe your predictions for the fight tonight, and anything else you'd like for us to discuss on the show. We would love to hear from you out there, our dear listeners. We're here for you. We're here to be helpful. We enjoy doing this because, we enjoy each other's company, and we're still going to do that, but we'd like to be of service and helpful to you out there who are listening. So thank you.
Sure. All right, Tom. Well, you have a great weekend.
You do the same. And we'll see you guys next week.
All right. Thanks, Tom.